Hello and welcome to Kenya's most candid conversation here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinyi. It's a pleasure to have you on board on this very grand day, Prof. How are you?
Wonderful.
Thank you. You always find time to attend to us and of course talk to the people while we are analyzing everything taking place within, and of course expressing your views there. And definitely here we are looking at how things are taking place in the country as usual. Definitely something happened over the weekend. Of course, as you know, Cleopas Malala, the Secretary General of the ruling party, of course, UDA, let me say Kenya Kwanza for that matter, of course, is the Secretary General of UDA. He made some sentiments and he said Raila is not above the law. He should be arrested. That is following the kind of demonstrations that we saw on Sabasaba, demonstrations that actually consumed or rather claimed lives of Kenyans for that matter. Let's begin from here. In the first place, was Raila wrong in doing in organizing the demos in the first place? Let's get it from there. And then let's also now focus on whether it's possible to do what Cleopas Malala is saying. Let's begin from Raila's.
Raila is operating from within the provisions of the Constitution, Article 37, that allows Kenyans peacefully to demonstrate, picket, and so on and so forth. Peacefully and armed. I did not see any demonstrator who was unpeaceful. I did not see any demonstrator who was armed. So But
there's
nothing wrong there. In as
much as he's operating within the Constitution and is actually following, everybody has got that right to demonstrate and picket and show their distress to the regime in whichever manner they deem fit. But then what if now it comes to a point where it infringes on other people's rights?
It has not come there. It is the police who is pushing it there.
These people are saying, we saw there was a standstill at the Nairobi CBD on that particular day. People's businesses were closed. I mean, why should your life and whatever action you do interfere with mine?
If the police did not set out to break the demonstrations, shops will be opened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it will be peaceful.
So you think the police had
tell Raila, where are you starting from? Kamkunji. Okay, which route are you using? Landis Road. Then from there, Haile Selassie. Or no, then please avoid Kenyatta Avenue for this and this reason. Demonstrate like this. Where do you want to end? Uhuru Park or Central Park? Fine. Nobody will close their shops. Why would they close? People close because they know there will be a clash between the police and the demonstrators. And then the environment will not be conducive for business. But if people knew they are just peaceful demonstrations, why would you close? In fact, those demonstrators will be your customers. And we must get there. Because people are going to demonstrate over all manner of things. This new constitution has opened people. People are going to demonstrate about rights, about violations. It is going to be the order of the day.
So you're saying that Kenyans are actually becoming awoke on...
No, it is the government and the police who are not reading the constitution well.
Okay, now let's get to what Cleopas Malala said. Of course, this has been reiterated by leaders across the board, especially those allied to the Kenya Kwanza government, saying Raila is not above the law.
Malala,
let him get arrested. Let's begin from there.
Malala ni mboga gani?
What do you mean by mboga gani?
You know, the history of this country is... We've seen how governments have used charlatans, backing dogs, attack dogs, giving them positions, kind of Secretary General. No. So Malala is no exception. He fits in that pattern of the government, the ruling party identifying people who can be used. People who can do anything they are told to do, say anything, who have no respect even for themselves. People who open their mouth and even their own children want to hide. People who talk and if it is on TV and they are not in the house, their spouses switch off the TV and the children. So Malala falls in that category of people. And who told Malala there's anybody who is above the law? In this country, not even Ruto is above the law. Nobody is ever above the law. Nobody. Today you can take Uhuru to court and he was president. It's just immunity granted to the president. For good reason. You can't prosecute Ruto now that he's the president. It doesn't mean he's above the law. It's just because for practical reasons, taking him to court will be messy. So you say, okay, Ruto, finish your term, we shall come for you in 2020. 2027 or 2032. Nobody's above the law. But if he means arresting Raila, I can understand. Because people like Malala, you know, they don't understand the history of this country. They don't understand where we have come from. No, or some can even understand, but immediate, what is given immediate to them, what is in the immediate, what you can get now, the publicity, the limelight, or some trappings of the office, they make you not behave like someone who doesn't know what's going on. But if you know what we have gone through as a country, then you must give Raila, you know, the law protects Ruto from prosecution while he's in office. But really politics, the reality in the country is such that Raila is protected by the reality in the country. So if you want to go against reality, go against and see the consequences. You see, there is the law and there's the reality. You can't get the most popular guy and the most powerful individual in the country and you think he's like you or like your grandmother or grandfather. No, this is the reality of life. Raila is larger than life, larger than size. If you touch him, you're getting into problems. Because there are 3 people in this country, if you touch, the country will go on fire. If you touch Ruto, you are causing disaster. If you touch Uhuru, you're causing, if you touch Raila, you want the country to go down. So, but I can understand people like Malala, they are young, they don't understand things, and where they do, the little they could have understood is distorted by the trappings of what they are getting around where they are.
Okay.
Yeah, a serious person cannot talk like that. No.
So you think what they're saying is impossible?
You know, some fool can try it, but the consequences, I'm just talking about the consequences. If you touch Raila, you know there will be thousands of people willing to die because of Raila. Willing to die. Throw themselves in the fire to die for him. This guy is a religion.
So you're thinking that, okay, in short, you're suggesting that perhaps Raila could also be immune as the president is?
Pardon? Yeah, the reality gives him immunity. Yeah.
Okay.
The really politics, the reality of the day gives Raila the sort of immunity the president also has against. You can't. Let us ask you, Malala, which court will you take Raila to now? You'll need the entire army to be there.
Anyway,
and okay, assuming now you have found him guilty, because the idea of taking him, arresting him is to find him guilty. Which prison can he be in? So you now want the prison people to break the prison.
But he's been arrested before.
Yeah, but you should look at the times. The times are changing. Things are changing. The Raila then was a freedom fighter, but he hadn't acquired the spirituality he has acquired now. Yeah, he has acquired some spirituality. If you take him to committee, you think they will be committee tomorrow? The people will break that thing. The prisoners themselves will break it. So what is Malala?
I've seen.
He thinks Raila is like Manyora or him. No.
I've seen some leaders say, the likes of Nandi Senator Chege say that what's the worst that can happen in case Raila has been arrested?
But you see, Chege is a young boy.
What's the worst that can happen?
He's a young man who was a young boy the other day. So he's, you know, let me tell you something. You know, I'm an old man, eh? And I know things, some of it I just know because I'm old. I'll tell you this. There are some people in positions they never dreamt they could have achieved. So you get a guy, he's a senator, he never even dreamt once he could be a councillor. You know, I have told my students many times, if you look at the great people, they acquire the greatness long before they acquire. They acquire in the mind. You get it?
I get you.
So, people, when people get big things, people say, hey, I'm a pataje. Hey, some people had dreamt about it and were working towards it. But there are people who even in their wildest imagination, they never thought they could be a headmaster of a primary school. Then they find themselves a vice chancellor of a university in life. And that's the mess you are seeing in the country. Of people with completely no capacity to lead even a small department. Because it requires a certain mindset. People who have certain dreams are people who change society and change institutions, change companies. But you get Mutu just a bundle of masses and bones and muscles with very little in the head. So some of these people, they have achieved what they never thought they could achieve. And it quickly fills their empty heads. So when you see somebody talking, you forgive him. Just forgive him, because you have.
So you believe that a crop of leaders in this country rise to those positions by accident?
Yeah. No, let me tell you this. Many of these people are overrated. I did a video and I was saying somebody like Moses Kuria can be a deputy president to Raila, running mate. And I said, I know people are going to dismiss because they think he's. And I was saying, even those people you think are great, most of them are useless. You know, when you see people on TV and read about them and hear about them on radio, they are big. They are ministers, they are judges, they are things. If you are lucky like some of us to interact with them, then initially you get shocked, but after some time you know. How do people get things in life, whether it is property, whether it is positions in society, offices, what have you? Everybody thinks it is through personal effort. I want to tell you here, it is rarely the case. Very few people have the achievement through their own effort. Many people get things through inheritance, through accidents, through fate. Jomo Kenyatta wasn't the best guy around. These Kikuyu wazes were looking for a boy who could read and write. And Jomo Kenyatta was there. Johnson, he was called Johnson Kamau or somebody. At some point they were looking for somebody to send to the Wazungu in England. So, when you see big people, it's not that they have the capacity for anything. Most of these people are underrated, and a frightening number of them are extremely useless. But through what I've told you, through inheritance, through family lineage, through accidents, through luck, through fate, through corruption, through all manner of things, they find themselves up there. So do not be surprised that an overwhelming majority of these people are completely useless.
So you're saying the things that they are saying cannot actually work. Okay, let's get it from here. Prof, now, right now we've seen Raila has done this over time, but then people are asking now, is this the kind of opposition that we need to have, or should we have one that is solution based, one that would perhaps try to give alternative measures to the government in such kind of situations? Right now, definitely you know very well that our country is in a dire situation, but then we saw that back then when he was in that sort of arrangement with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, where he used to give solutions alternative solutions to the government of the day. But then right now people are accusing him of back then we were suffering, we did not talk. Why are you talking right now? So where does this strike the balance?
You know people operate according to the way times are. Times dictate certain approaches. You may change your approach. Raila could have been sincere in thinking he could help Uhuru do things better. He could also have thought by working with Uhuru, the country will benefit. But I think it was informed, according to me, more by saving the country than by whatever gains any of them could get. Again, if you think Raila should change because maybe he has not achieved through his strategies, then again you can be forgiven because you are a young man. If you look at what this country has achieved in terms of freedom, in terms of democracy, human rights, and even economic development to some measure, a lot of these things will be attributed to people like Raila Odinga. So they have achieved a lot. But if you want to see this in terms of whether they became president or not, that to me is a bit simplistic. Yeah.
Okay, finally, let's look at this. We've heard here people speaking, of course, those allied to the current regime, talking the other side, talking about the arrest of Raila Odinga, saying that nothing will go wrong. Perhaps a few individuals will demonstrate and that will be it. We've also seen this kind of public onslaught against the former president Uhuru Kenyatta by the other side. So apart from publicly lynching and prosecuting these people, are there any avenues through which the government can perhaps bring these people on board and perhaps talk to them or have them prosecute,
But
if
you
at
already
all,
answered
because they're saying that Uhuru Kenyatta is the one supporting these things.
But you have answered your question. The question is, why can government just come down and play the right politics by talking to Raila and the rest, and the two, by bringing down the cost of living? It's simple. It doesn't require anybody to be a genius. What the government needs to do is so little. Play the politics right, stop the kind of talk we are getting from Kina Wetangula and Kina Moses, talk like a statesman, talk with Raila and his people, while at the same time try and bring down the cost of living, period.
Only that.
Only that. Other countries have big problems. Choices the president must make, faced with an opposition or a rebellion. Your people in the forest fighting. The choices are so tough. The decisions to be made. But this one, just lowering the cost of living. And stop talking carelessly.
Now,
that's all. Come
as we
on.
conclude this, just answer my simple question. What is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? You definitely know what I'm talking about.
If you did what?
Chirarge asked, what is the worst that can happen? I'm also asking you,
the worst that can happen if you arrest Raila, you are on your way to become a refugee, Chirarge, my friend, my neighbor and my friend. It's not even the worst. The most likely outcome is that Chirarge may be a refugee. It is so simple. Because, you know, we take this order for granted. We take this peace for granted.
Okay.
And you know, I don't know how people think this country that went down, they went down because of very bad things. Even Rwanda was just what some stupid people said. It's just mouth. Come out, that has brought countries down. Yes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, definitely that is a very good point to wrap up this conversation. Remember, this is your home for comprehensive analysis of everything political taking place in the country, be it public governance and all that in there, be it politics, be it business, anything economic. Remember, this is your channel of choice. Jadel Kabiro will be always here with Professor Herman Manyora talking matters politics. I'll also be here, as well as Richard Mwenje, who will bring you up to date with everything on business as well as economic matters. Very comprehensive analysis there, and do not fail to tune into those programs that will be coming up to you. If at all you're here for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here. And of course, let's meet on the next episode of the Candid Talk. My name is Evans Okinyi.